I've been in Canada for the last 12 years, and it's a time that I did not have time to do this kind of Sunday talks, especially for Buddhist Mahavihara or any other Malaysian Buddhist organizations. Alright, so today's talk should be, if you could remember, it's about the first precept. I wanted to make sure that I talk on the correct topic. Let me see that again. Abstaining from taking life, Panatipata Veramani. It is not a very strange topic to all of us, because every day, without a monk or even with a monk, you all take precepts, right? So today what I am going to do is I will be talking to you about what Panatipata is and what is killing and death, because there are two aspects that are related to Panatipata, especially in Buddhism. And also, how does killing happen, and how can we prevent, maybe how can we try our level best to stop even a thought of killing, destroying a being. And also I will be discussing about some of the very interesting questions about killing that many people ask in daily life. That will be the contents. Alright, first I wanted to discuss about the background of the first precept. Now all you know that this is the first precept, isn't it? Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyam. That means this is a part of the practice called Sila. Is Sila very important to us? It is very important to us. See, without Sila, you are not able to practice most of the other practices. Say, for instance, meditation. Is it easy for you to practice meditation without some Sila? I don't think it is possible. Let's say at the end of the day, before you go into sleep, you want to meditate. Maybe you want to practice metta meditation. Ever since you want to start metta meditation or anapanasati, breath meditation, some of the things that happen to you, maybe some of the things you did for other people, keep coming up, keep popping up in your mind. I lied, I did this thing, I probably this and that. So you will have lots of remorse, kukucha. We call them kukucha, remorse, regret. When the remorse keeps coming towards you, to your mind, it is not easy for you to do the meditation, right? So Sila is very important then for the meditation part. The word Sila comes from pre-Buddhist time. What do you mean by pre-Buddhist time? Before the Buddha. What were the very famous teachers that talk about Sila before the Buddha? Do you want to think about who they are? Jains, Nigantanatha Buddha, Jains. He practiced a very extreme Sila. I mean, it's extreme to us, not to them. So he said to his people that if you want to walk, you need to walk by sweeping the floor. The reason is, otherwise you might step on the tiny ants, maybe the invisible creatures. He asked people not to drink water directly drawn from rivers, lakes, and those places, saying to his followers that you indirectly killing the life of those beings. And he instead encouraged people to boil the water and then drink. But he didn't know that while boiling, you also you indirectly, where you going to, I would say, clear, maybe purify water. Purification in that sense could be, making sure that you are drinking pure water, right? So it was an extreme kind of Sila. We don't need, in Buddhism, the Buddha said, we don't need extreme kind of Sila. And we don't need anything extreme. Even meditation, even dana, even volunteering. What else? What you do as Buddhists? Even you do anything else, you have to make sure that you are not doing it extremely. Because too much and too less, they are two extremes. If you are practicing less meditation and if you are practicing too much meditation, they all are ends, extreme ends. We have to find our balance. So Sila was not a very new term to the people at that time. So Buddha presented Sila in a very innovative way. He said, Sila can be ethically neutral or Sila can be ethically positive. How do we understand that? It's a little bit of some grammar over here, contextual grammar. Now, when the Buddha talks about Sila as a practice, we know that it conveys ethically positive aspects. Panatipata Veramani, yes, it is about ethically positive things. And he also talked about Kusala Sila, Akusala Sila. It is ethically neutral. That doesn't carry good and bad, right? Exactly. Sila can be used to talk about morality of anything. It is like Dhamma. Dhamma can be used to say different things. But Dhamma can be used to talk about specific things, right? So, why do we want to practice Sila? Because it is the starting point. Unless we are good people, morally good people, we are not able to go to the second level. What is the second level? Samadhi. Sila, then Samadhi. You are finding lots of difficulties for Samadhi. You can't concentrate your mind. You will say, I can't concentrate. But you are not able to concentrate according to the Buddha. So, when you have some level of Samadhi, concentration, then you are able to enter into Panya, wisdom. So these three things are very much connected each other. But that doesn't mean that you should end up in Sila. A lot of people end up in Sila. They always keep practicing Sila. They don't go to the Samadhi. So what the Buddha says is, practice the three simultaneously, but practice more the most important one. The most important one is Panya, wisdom. Because Sila, Samadhi prepare us to understand wisdom, to work with wisdom, to talk with wisdom, to think with wisdom, right? That is the goal here, Panya, which means Nibbana also. Do we need Panya or wisdom in our daily life also? Yes, we need. Right? Now say for instance, we talk about Nibbana, right? So we have to find out Nibbana at our home before we talk about Nibbana in that very higher level. How do we find Nibbana in our daily life? What do you think about it? You have to cool down in your daily activities, because we are with lots of fires. When you talk to other people, you might not agree, right? Other people might criticize you, right? Other people might badmouth you about you, and you will see things that work according to not the way that you expected. So then all the time you are getting boiled down. You feel that there are fires happening within you. So the Buddha says initially we have to cool down, right? That is very important. So the more cool you are, the more Nibbana moments you will find in your daily life. That means always try to calm down, cool down. Then you will find out, oh, then the real Nibbana should be much, much happier place, right? That is how we're going to look at it. All right, now this is just a background knowledge of Sila, Samadhi, Panya. It's a very expanded topic which I don't go to describe to you at this point, because our main point is just to take a step and get into the first precept. All right, so now again we have a problem. We have two words in terms of our Sila practice. One is Sila, other one is Sikha. Isn't it? Sila could be morality and the other one is Sikha. What is Sikha? Precept. Sila and Sikha are intertwined. So now we have to understand what is Sila, what is Sikha. Sikha is a particular training rule for you to be in the Sila. It's like compassion and kindness. So we ask people, please be compassionate. So what can you do for being compassionate? Activities regarding kindness. Everyday kindness. When you are into kindness, you are already practicing compassion. Right? That is how we take it. In the same way, Sikha means precept, training rules for you to adjust to make sure that you have enough Sila. So Panatipata is one of the Sikhas, training rules, because Panatipata Veramani Sikha Padang Samadhiya. Yeah. You don't say I take the Sila. What you say? Instead, I take the training rule of not killing, abstaining from not killing, or abstaining from killing other people. Right? That is how you take it. Now, someone might question, why did the Buddha talk this in a negative perspective? Like in psychology, we know it's called reverse psychology, right? So sometimes you ask children, hey, do not touch the plug, there's some power. But the kid, without your notice, going to touch the plug and then get electrocuted, right? But some parents say, if you want to get electrocuted, go touch it. That is reverse psychology. Oh, really? I get electrocuted, so I'm not going to do that. So children think in different ways. Some children might listen to you in the first way, but some other children might take it from the reverse psychology way. They don't like the positive affirmation. You see, tell me in the negative way, then I get shocked and I'm not going to do it. Right? So the Buddha says the reason why I gave the precepts in a negative way, to show people, now you know the boundary. If I say in the correct positive way, I would say positive way, you don't know the boundary of your practice. What is the boundary here? You are not going to kill any being. That is the boundary. Then the rest is up to you. Right? The rest is up to you. That means you know that I can do lots of good things. I can take care of people, take care of beings, save beings' lives, right? But I have to show you, this is the boundary. Do not trespass. Do not exceed. Do not break the boundary. All right. So, abstaining from killing. Once again, Panatipata. How do we understand this word? Anybody has any ideas? Panatipata. How do we understand? What's the meaning exactly in here? Interesting, right? Because everybody says not killing is Panatipata, but we don't know what is Panatipata. What is Panatipata? What is Pana? Sentient beings. Pana means sentient beings, those who have not yet died. Even animals, everybody, right? Sentient beings. Pana atipata. You're going to break the word, huh? Pana atipata. Atipata means pata. You're going to cause that particular sentient being's vitality. Vitality is a proper word in the Dhamma. That means your living, actually. Every living being's living part. You are going to cause any living being's vitality to fall from where it is. Then that person is going to die. You are going to cause. Not even you are going to kill. Even you are going to cause that to happen. Strategizing, planning, premeditating, everything. Atipata means fall. That person's vitality is going to fall down. It means die. Pana atipata. So now let's figure out what is meant by Pana. How do we understand Panas? Who is a Pana? An easy reference to Pana is Karaniya Metta Sutta. Remember Karaniya Metta Sutta? How do we know Karaniya Metta Sutta's reference or relevance to Pana? In the Karaniya Metta Sutta, it says the first part of the Metta Sutta is how to develop our skillful habits. There are 15 skillful habits. Right? Karaniya Matta Kusalena Yantang Santam Padang Abhisamicca. Now it starts. Sakko, Uju, Suju, Suvacho, Mudu, Anatimani, Santussako, Subharo, Appakicho, Sallahukabutti, Nipako, Appagabbu, Kulesu Ananugiddu, Nachakuddang, Samachare Kinchena Vinyo. These are 15 skillful habits that everyone must practice in order to practice metta. We're not going to talk about that today. It's a different topic. But the rest, Nachakuddang samachare kinchiyena vinyo pare upavadeyong sukinova kemino huntu sabbe satta bhavantu sukitatta. Then it says, ye kechi pana, this is pana. Ye kechi pana bhutatti. Pana, there you find panatipata and pana. Ye kechi pana, if there are any sentient beings, who are they? Ye kechi pana bhutatti. Now the word pana has been identified, defined. Bhutatti, who are the bhutas? Bhutas, B-H-U-T-A, bhutas. In some Theravada cultures, bhuta means a ghost. But we don't call bhuta is a ghost. Bhuta means a sentient being who has not yet passed away. That means we all are bhutas. Ekechi pana bhutanti. Tasava tavarava anavasesa. Tasava, any sentient being who is terrified, scared. Tavarava, strong beings. Anavasesa, the rest of the beings. So now you understand Pana, that means a sentient being, is a very important classification. That means every being who has not yet passed away. How do we call beings who passed away already? Let's say there are lots of people in your life who passed away. How do we call them? Are they still bhutas? Who are they? In Pali, Has nobody asked you this question before? I'm asking the question. Now we know the people who are still living with us are called Bhuta, B-H, long U and T-A. Then how are we going to understand people who passed away, not yet with us anymore? What is the Pali word for them? I think you know the word, but you don't know how to connect it to this point. At the end of the dana, you are doing it, right? Peta, Peta, P-E-T-A, Petas. You know that, but you don't know how to connect it. So everybody who passed away from this life, we call them Petas. Maybe they are already born somewhere, but we don't know where they born. But we call them Petas, P-E-T-A. Now let's talk about beings who are going to be reborn in a mother's womb or somewhere. Who are they called? They have another word. You will see the word in the Karaniya Metta Sutta. Sambhavesi. Sambhavesi. If you see Karaniya Metta Sutta, you will see it. Sambhavesi means those beings who already going to be reborn in a mother's womb, conceive. Sambhavesi. Now on, I'm going to ask you again. How do we call beings who are living in Pali? Bhuta. How do we call beings who already passed away? Huh? Petas. How do we call beings who are going to be reborn very soon? Sambhavesi. Three Pali words that you know, right? So now we talk about the bhutas. We don't talk about Sambhavesi. Sambhavesi is not yet come to us. Petas already gone. Let's talk about the bhutas. Who are bhutas? They are the panis, panas. That means those who are already with us. So the Buddha says that there are two things that the Buddhism talks about. One is killing, the other one is death. He says, I'm not concerned about death. Why is it? Why does the Buddha say, I'm not concerned about the death? Death is inevitable. It's inevitable. It's not a very new thing to us. And we all know we're going to die one day. But I'm concerned about killing. Killing is a concern. That is about the first precept. So, how does killing happen in our life? That's a very good question, right? Can you think about some of the ways how can killing happen? How can someone perform a killing? Let's start off from our house. You have something to say? Okay. Let's say a very non-harmful kind of thing. Somebody does not clean the house, and then in that house now there comes lots of cobwebs, lots of spiders going here and there. Maybe someone opens the windows throughout the day, and by the evening there are lots of mosquitoes coming in. You're very mad about the mosquitoes. You open the window the whole day, right? And somebody opened the house door, maybe the kitchen door, unnecessarily for a long amount of time. Lots of flies coming in and getting very mad about them. And then looking for some ways to kill them. Now where's the problem? Initially, is it the problem with the mosquitoes, flies, or spiders? Initially, the problem is with us. We can prevent most of those events. That means cleaning is very important. Let's say you are not someone who washes your cups after you have a tea or something. So ants keep pouring into the cup. You are someone who is going to eat snacks in the bed. Ants keep pouring into your bed. And you are then blaming all the ants. Maybe whoever the person who brought you the snack. Sometimes. Saying that you are the one who brought this biscuit or cookie or whatever. Chocolate. So most of the situations where we are going to kill a being comes from some inability, lack of responsibilities that we don't take. The Buddha says, I talk about responsibilities, not rights. Today's world talk about rights. Women talk about feminine rights. LGBTQ talks about their rights. Workers talk about their rights on May 1st. Everybody talks about rights. Not many people talk about responsibilities. Sigalova, the sutta, is a full description of responsibilities. Right? Anyways, so we can minimize lots of events, situations where we are driven to kill household tiny creatures. So we are making sure that we are good. What about the other events? You are driving on a highway, maybe somewhere else, and then all of a sudden, I don't know whether it happens here, an animal is running into the road, and you are going to save the animal, but you are going to let other people to have a crash after you. They can't stop in time. They will all jam into you, crash into your vehicle. That means you have to continue your vehicle, right? Just because you want to save an animal on the highway, do not jeopardize, risk other people's lives. Huh? So at that point, we look at a bigger picture of Panatipata. We have to look at the bigger picture. Say, for instance, a soldier, a police officer going to work in his capacity. There's a domestic violence, they get called and they get into the house, somebody's having a gun, maybe a knife, they have to use their power. But not with anger, but to make sure stabilize the peace, save the innocent people's lives. There may be events like that. That means it's not always possible to just go by the precept literally. The precept has to be practiced both literally, at times contextually. Make sense? Literally and contextually. I think other Sunday somebody asked me, Bhante, I am someone who is doing pest control. How do I look at it? I said, no problem, because you don't have anger towards pest. So what you are doing is you are going to save humans, right? If you could find another job, go for it. But if you ask me how do I do it by being a Buddhist, I say to you, you are not doing it with anger. You are doing it with a great picture, bigger picture, not just to survive with money, but just to help human beings. Because some of the pests cause some diseases, and you are very much concerned about these diseases. What about the scientists, research scientists who do researches in some labs? They have to cut some animals. There was a lady, a Sri Lankan lady in Canada, who was telling me she was a scientist who helped engineers to cut. The scientist to cut some animal. Now she's very worried about that time. Bhante, I think I should have not done that job now. I feel very much worried about it. Why did I do it? Yes. If you cannot think that way, yes, you shouldn't go for that job. But let's say someone has to do the job. According to Buddhism, what we see in that job is a modern kind of situation, that doctors or scientists, they are testing different things on them to save millions, billions of people. Greater good. We're going to look at it that way, right? So it's always the intention, not just the literal cutting, something like that. Intention matters to us, right? On the other hand, how do we better prepare for not killing kind of situations? Now in Buddhism, we have another word called vyapada. Anybody knows this word? V, Y, long A, P, long A, D, A, vyapada. Vyapada means thoughts of destroying other people. Thoughts of destroying other people. Do you need to destroy other people only by killing them? No. You may sometimes kill their reputation. You may sometimes kill their good name. You may sometimes kill their social life, family. There's a good married couple and you're going to be a third party in that family. You're going to break that relationship. Destroying. Vyapada. thoughts of destroying other people. Right? The Buddha says this is the thought that comes to you before you going to kill someone. Right? I remember there is a sutta in, I think in Anguttara Nikaya or Samyutta Nikaya, Buddha meets a man called Kesa, and he starts a conversation with him. Then he asks Kesa, you are a horse trainer, you train horses. So may I ask, what do you do with horses that do not follow your rules? He said, Bhante, it's a waste of time, so I normally kill them. Oh, okay. Then he asked the same question from the Buddha. Bhante, I know that you have lots of monks. I believe that some monks might not listen to you. It's of course not a big thing. What would you do? I also kill them. Really? Do you kill your monks? Yes. They were very afraid. He was very afraid. Then the Buddha said, my killing and your killing is different. My killing is from the day that I know that the monk is not going to listen to me, I stop giving advices to him. So he's already killed. Actually, it's true. Kalyana Mitra's association. If you have a Kalyana Mitra and all of a sudden your Kalyana Mitra stops talking to you, not being with you, and you feel like your whole world has gone away, fallen down. You feel no energy, you feel no vitality, no vibe. That is the way how the Buddha kills. Did the Buddha do it? Yes, he did to one monk. Who was he? His friend, his very good friend, Channa, his driver who brought him out of the palace, who gave him robes and all that. Why did the Buddha do that for him? He was always telling the Buddha, because he became a monk after. He said to the Buddha that you haven't given me any position in the sasana. I am the one who helped you a lot. So you gave all the positions to other people who you knew later on. Sariputta Moggallana. Who are these people? They just came to you and then you gave them the chief discipleships. You shouldn't have given to them. And I'm the one who helped you. Even at a time that you don't know who is the Buddha also. You never know how you're going to be a Buddha by that time. But I was with you. I took you around. I brought you to Magadha from Kosala, because actually he was born in Kosala state. And I brought you to Magadha, state of Magadha. But you forgot me. I think I'm mistreated by you. So I'm not happy. And the Buddha said, well, I never given any position to somebody just by knowing for long. I give it to the right person. Sariputta Moggallana have done immense good karmas in their past life to be the chief disciples, and you are not. So try to understand that point. But he did not understand. Then the Buddha said, I am going to declare the Brahma Danda, the highest punishment in Buddhism, not talking to that person. All monks should stop talking to him. So finally, after the Buddha passed away, there was a Sanghayana, Buddhist council. After 3 months, in that Sanghayana, all the monks decided, no, now let's release him. It's too bad for him. They released him after that. See? So killing is different in Buddhism. So we can't kill anybody. But there are certain occupations where you will have to think it a little differently. Right? So how to better prepare for this first precept? Number 1 is always be kind to other people. Try to think about their safety. That is the most important thing. Right? Never ever wish somebody's, I would say, loss. Always, even the loss of enemy. He or she may be an enemy to us, but we should not expect that. Just because other people are bad, should we need to bad too? We shouldn't be bad too. That is me. I die by myself, you die by yourself. So you carry what you did, I carry what I did. People can be different. That's the world. Just because someone is bad to you, mean to you, don't become mean to that person. Just carry on your life. So then you make sure that you are thinking good thoughts on that person, although you don't associate, because you can't associate. Maybe a problematic person, maybe a troublemaker, problem maker. But you make sure that you carry on your good thoughts. Always wish safety and protection for other people. Now let's talk about very difficult moments. Maybe I can let you ask me any comments about it. Any difficult situations where you find panatipata can happen in your life? Yes, go ahead.
Bhante, basically you're talking about healing, right? What about taking one's whole life?
Yeah, a very good aspect of this talk. Taking life or committing suicide, it is a very bad thing. It is panatipata. Definitely panatipata. Because somebody might do it just because he or she is frustrated about his or her life. But we should understand, as Buddhists, this is not only the life that we are spending. We have been living for long, billions of lives back, and we will be reborn for billion, trillion, more than that times. So whatever we do to us will carry with us, will come with us. And you were frustrated because something happened to you in this life, but do not make it the reason that you are going to be reborn in the next moment. Because the moment that you die matters. Even you commit suicide or when you die naturally. For example, the Buddha says the last moment of your life, this life, matters for the first thought of the next life. Patisandhi chitta. We say Chuti chitta is the last moment. Patisandhi chitta is the first moment of the next life. Say for instance, someone dies with lots of frustration, sadness and all that. So, how do we understand that emotion? In Pali. What's the Pali word for that emotion? Frustrated, sad, angry about what's happening. What is the Pali word for that? Come on up. It's Pali. Dosa, anger. You are angry about you, finally. If you are angry about other people, you are not doing that to you, right? Finally, you are becoming angry towards you. Maybe somebody did that. Then you are thinking that to you, because of me, what a stupid person was I. Then you are bringing that, all the bad emotions towards you, right? So the last moment will be a super dosa thought. And then what will happen to you? You will be reborn mostly as a snake. Now in Buddhism we say if you have lots of dosa, you're going to be reborn as a snake, which happened to Dharmashoka, King Ashoka. King Ashoka did everything. He sent his son Mahinda and Sanghamitta to Sri Lanka. He sent 9 emissaries to the Indian continent, to Suvarnabhumi, the whole Malay. Now they say the whole Malaya Peninsula, and where else? Bactria in Greece, northern Afghanistan, and he sent all the good things, and he made 84,000 temples, and he did the third council. But what was his last moment? Just before he passed away, something happened. Maybe it is said that some women were fanning him to give some air, and probably one of the fans hit his body, and he was really mad about it. Why did you do that? And he passed away. Because of that dosa, he was reborn as a big python in the Himalayas for a short time. Because anger always takes you to becoming born as a snake, which is very painful. Not many people like snakes. Plus the pain, right? And if you die with lots of lobha, you are mostly supposed to be reborn as a ghost. I would say preta. Not reborn in peta, always disturbing other people, right? If you die with moha, then you are going to reborn as a normal person. So it's how we look at it. So committing suicide, taking life, is a panatipata, definitely. I think such people really need guidance, help, mental health at that point. And it is a huge misunderstanding about the preciousness of this life. That is why we always think about everybody's mental health, that you are somebody, you are so valuable. Everybody's life is precious, no matter what you do, which background you come from. So it is Panadipata. Nobody should go to that level. And I always believe that there are so many ways to every problem. There's a short answer and a long answer. At least that person should have looked at short answer or the long answer. I remember in Japan during the COVID-19, more women died by committing suicide, taking life, overwork life. 2,000, 3,000 young ladies, because maybe losses of their jobs, they can't take their work amount, one of the workaholic countries, right? So they can't take it, so they go to the tall buildings, they jump off the building, thinking that nobody can help me, nobody can do anything for me. They don't have help and all that. Across everywhere, this can happen everywhere. So it is a breach, breaking out the first precept. Yeah. This is how we do it. We're gonna tell people that killing is the breach of the first precept. If you kill yourself, do not think about other people. Definitely more bad things will happen. You have to always keep your life and become a better human being. You got this human life after so many good things. Do not try to destroy it. That is how we're going to tell people. If people understand that, they will never do such a thing to them. Right? If you look at, you might say the population of the world is very big now, but if you compare this number with the animals, tiny creatures, of course not. So a lot of people, they go to hells. Reason is that they do not understand the preciousness. And one of the good things that you could do to become a human again is to take care of other human beings, love other human beings, be with them, always appreciate, be grateful, and then have a life by protecting everyone's lives. That is a good step to do. Another, yeah, please. Can you give me a second? Do you have a mic over here? Yeah, better, so then even the recording can also get your question. Yeah, please go ahead.
Bhante, good morning. I just want to ask, let's say two person quarreling, the other person is very angry. Then of course the other person is quiet, maybe kind. Then how the kind person going to retaliate? Of course not going to react, right? So what should the kind person do? Let him be like that, or what? In the midst of the anger. Thank you.
Yeah. I think in Buddhism, what we are looking at is to curb any anger coming up. We are looking at the cause rather than the result. But result is also important, because anybody can be angry anytime. It depends on the self-control, peace, calmness that person can carry, right? Some people are bornly very calm, very friendly, calm people. Some people need to have some control, because, right? And some people, they cannot do anything actually, because their character has taken over any control, any management of that. In the case of that kind of a situation, I believe that kind or good person is always trying to minimize arguments, criticism, not going to argue with such people. Assuming that is happening, let's say it keeps happening, he or she would definitely not do the same thing. maybe make sure that he or she is safe in the first place. Safety is number one, right? Let's say somebody is trying to give that blame incessantly, continuously. The good person always has to take safety steps. That's number one. And then to minimize the situation, right? Maybe not reacting, but responding in the proper way, right? If that good person thinks the sort of angry person might not listen to him or her, maybe to walk away in a proper way, be silent and walk away from that place immediately, or dependent situation. So it depends on the situation. So what I can say is, good person always knows how to de-escalate any situation. Isn't that important? Somebody comes over here, then plays a big drama over here, make a scene. If you are a wise person, good person means wise person, that person knows how to behave in a way to de-escalate all the drama. So people who play drama will go away automatically. But the people who are not wise, they're trying to develop that drama. They're trying to let them do more. And then they're going to be more violent. They're going to be more angry. Have you seen people, there's a good person, but such people come on to them and then keep blaming them. And they also say, good people also say to them some unnecessary words. So the fight gets very tense, right? It happens. So that is the problem of good people, some good people. So you have to understand, find better ways to cope up with the situation, maybe to walk away slowly, maybe to be silent, maybe to do another safety maneuver thing. It is depend on the situation. But what I can say is that the so-called good person that you mentioned should know, I believe, how to behave in the most proper way with that person. Yeah, let them get mad. Let the bad person get mad to whatever the extent he or she wants. But it is always, there is a responsibility from the good person's side also. The way how he reacts or responds. Of course, reactions are very bad. Responses, right? So the good person will definitely looks at the proper way to cope up with, maybe to say something in a good way. How can I help you? Maybe let's talk about it later. Maybe not to talk about anything. Maybe to just pretend that I got a call, I'm going to walk away, right? It depends. It all depends. The situation, maybe it might be a crowded place, it might be a lonely place, maybe something bad can happen to that person. So it's always dependent upon the situations, and a wise person will do the most important thing, maybe the right thing at that point. I don't think that we should give that to the past, because then you can do it. Most of the Buddhists do it. But I think we are now living in this life. We have no control over the past. So let's do something in here. If it is the past, but we have to respond in the present time, right? If you call it in the past, this is a consequence of the past, but your response has to go from the present life, right? We never know where it comes from, but it happens, right? I think most of the problems happen because you don't understand people. You don't understand people, behaviors, their actions, their habits. Now, say for instance, if you live with somebody for many years, the most important thing is to understand their habits. So your life becomes very easy, right? But if you are trying to correct them all the time, then the problems keep starting, right? Then the arguments will come in thousands, and then you will ruin the whole day after that. But if your person is very friendly, then you can talk in a nice way, kind way. Other than that, I think no need to think about the past. I don't know what kind of context you talk about. If it is a family, okay, husband and wife, yeah, this could be a karma. Yes, this could be, because the wife cannot, maybe husband cannot walk away just because he wants to go away, because I think properly a mismarriage, probably not a good couple. Maybe they haven't thought about it, their ways of thinking and all that. Maybe a karma. Sometimes it may be the way how the wife or the husband looks at the behavior of the other person, right? Because we always carry different attributes, different what do you call, our own habits, right? We like people who accept our habits, right? We very much like, right? Oh, you know me, I can tell you anything. Why is it? Because they respect our habits. So I think in that kind of a terrible situation, husband and wife can think about how to better cope up with this. Yeah. All right. Any other questions? One question I can actually say is that euthanasia. Now euthanasia, I think it's not here. In where I live, Canada and Switzerland, they have euthanasia approved. That means honor killing. That means a terrible patient can write his or her will to get, maybe injected with a lethal injection. This is kind of a modern issue. Even the US does not accept in many provinces, only in some, but Canada-wide they accept, in Switzerland. So this thing to Buddhism is a problem, because you might say it is an intention, because the doctor has no intent. Doctor might come up, according to some people, doctor wants to feel the patient happy. If the patient says, I can't take the pain anymore, I don't want to live anymore. But the problem, as a Buddhist, we are not talking from Westerners, we're talking from the Eastern Buddhist perspective, like all we have here. That kind of a killing cannot be moderated, accepted in Buddhism. What we are saying is trying to learn your pain. That might help you become a wiser person, right? So euthanasia cannot be that much, I would say, accepted by the Buddhist teachings. Yeah. All right, any more questions? Yes, please. I think you can take the mic. Yeah, something.
Okay, thank you. Bhante, sometimes when our near and dear ones, someone very close to us is dying, and he or she is on ventilator, like the doctors provide ventilator support. But even though the chances of surviving are very less, so he or she is put on ventilator support for several days. So I read somewhere that is also not a good way, because we are not letting that person to die in a natural way. So in some way, his or her sufferings we are elongating. So what could be a better
healthy
course of
perspective.
action? Yeah, in that case.
All right. Life support was not available at the time of the Buddha. I think now when someone is going to die, especially a very dear one in our family or who we know, we would like that person to live more, maybe to take all our savings, money to spend on that person. We don't like that person dying because we love that person. But the doctors say he or she is in coma, she cannot come back. But still, children, friends, they try to put him or her on ventilator, as you said. Doctors at some point might say this is a waste of thing, because he or she is not coming back. So sometime there is a point that they have to decide, somebody from that family have to decide that to take that ventilator off. So your question is about the ventilator and
continue the ventilator support?
Yeah, I think you have to go by the situation, because we are not going to kill anybody at that point. If we know that he or she wouldn't have a life anymore, and then we have to make a decision, especially the family has to make a decision. So at that point, I know it's a difficult, tough decision, but if you look at your father, your mother will not come back to normal anymore, and then I think his or her brain is already dead, only the heart survives. So I think somebody from the family has to make that decision. That is what people do. How do we see it from Buddhism? In Buddhism, we understand everybody is aging, people can get sick, and we have to understand how to accept death at that point. Because if the doctors say, because we go by medically, right? In that kind of a situation, we go by medically, we don't go by Dhamma. We let everything be done by the doctor. If the doctor says we can't do anything more, he or she is simply on ventilator, so then we have to go by that medical thing, respect that, right? And let's say the doctor says we can't do anything more, and somebody has to decide. Then what we're going to do is that we are going to have a family chat, family talk, and we decide with lots of difficulties to make that decision, and then to make up our mind, and thinking that we done everything for that person who is going to die, and then to accept that reality, not as a teaching, as you know, as a I would say inner thought. A lot of people, they know Dhamma by knowledge, but they do not have an opportunity to practice it really in their life. So we can take it as an opportunity for that. That's how we're gonna do it. Yeah, I think yes.
I mean, ask more about, because I don't understand. Let's say he was telling that, you are telling that medically he's brain dead, right? Okay, there is 2 person in a family. So I was thinking, if I were to make the decision that, okay, take out the ventilator, then the karmic, the bad karmic things will come to me, not to the other siblings, right?
Dhamma-wise, no.
Oh, Dhamma-wise,
no. Because as I said to you, it's a medical advice. Medically, there's no more that can be done to that person, and you are not going to kill that person. You are following simply the medical advice, depending on the time. But even if somebody is going to think, okay, I'm going to kill this person by taking it off, that will make karma. Yes. Now the doctor told me it's a good time to kill somebody. Yes. If that wild thought comes, yes. But if okay, I'm doing it so much difficulty, I know I had to do it because this is the medical advice, that doesn't make any problem.
So we just wish the dying person, well and happy.
Yes,
go off
a good rebirth, and probably you are reflecting upon his good things he done to you, she done to you. You should be grateful, and then always, probably you can say a prayer to him or her, because the doctors say they can hear but they can't talk. Right?
Okay.
You go closer, but they are closing their eyes, but you can talk to them, and yes, something like that.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Any others? Yeah.
Bhante, actually I want to talk about my experience, right? My grandmother was loss of breath every day. That was, I think, 40 years ago. And they were saying that you can pray to God to let her prolong his life. So my father was actually the youngest and second son, so he really prayed. And all of a sudden, my grandmother came to life again, breathless, and then. So the tragic thing is actually 1-2 months later, my father met an accident and just died, crashed, the whole thing, So asking one life to prolong the other life, right, in exchange to shorten life, right? Is it a karmic, we call it impact on this kind of, exchanging one life for the other life in terms of lifespan, out of love, out of what? You think it's the right thing to do?
Can you make it a little bit shorter once again?
Okay, what
Your
I mean
father-
is you exchange one's life so the other person can live longer. You pray to God, and the God fulfill that your request. But in return, or you give out, you shorten your life just to give the other person.
You mean someone needs an organ?
Yeah. No, not organ. Is either through the divine intervention or whatever. And I
Divine?
experienced. I was only 7-8 years, and we came from a very poor family. And I said, wow. I mean, they said never ask for God to change, to give one life so the other person can live longer. So you shorten your life to compensate for the other life. So.
Well, Dhamma-wise, we always have to take care of us, but there may be some extreme times where you might dedicate yourself, sacrifice yourself to somebody. I'm talking from a blood donation, maybe donation of your organs, kind of stuff. Other than that, we don't talk about the divine intervention into that kind of a thing. In Buddhism, we don't have that kind of thinking. In Buddhism, what we know is we take care of it. We take care of us. We're gonna take care of other beings around us. In case that there is a necessity for them to have some organs or some other things, you can consider, but you are not always supposed to do it, because it's a decision. Because the flip side of the question is that just because you want to help other people, you should not suffer, right? That is the main thing here. The Buddha says there is an elephant who is stuck in the mud, and then he is trying to help out another elephant who is stuck in the mud. Is it possible? Elephant has to get out of the mud first. This is the Buddhist way. So first, it's like wearing the oxygen mask first on board in a flight. They say do not try to give the mask to other people first. You have to wear it first, and then to do it for other person. It's kind of a very simple kind of thought. That is how we look at it. Because we don't believe that divine intervention can happen in that way. Maybe you might think that way according to your belief, but in Buddhist teachings, we always take control of us, take care of our living, and then to work from there. All right? All right. So then let's transfer. Do you have a question too? Okay. Let's go to the transference of merits. May all the good karmas that we have been accumulating today be transferred to all the departed relatives. Most importantly, today's Dhamma sharing is sponsored by 5 families. To celebrate birthday of, I'm sorry if I pronounce some letters, okay, words. Chu Kai Yi, Ku Chui Peng, and to give merits to Brother James, of the meditation group, and maybe these individuals are here, Imo Yu Win Tin, Imo Ong Pu Chuan. So let's transfer all the good karmas which we have been doing today by listening to Dhamma, engaging in a Dhamma discussion to all the departed people who passed away in the name of here and in your life. If the departed people were already reborn in a place of discomfort, pain, may they be able to release from all those painful lives and to be reborn in a place of comfort, happiness, Kama Sugati. If they are already in a place of Kama Sugati, may they be able to learn, practice, apply more Dhamma and attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idamme ñāti nang hotu sukita huntu ñātayo. Idamme ñāti nang hotu Sukita huntu ñātayu. Idamme ñāti nang hotu. Sukita huntu ñātayu. May all the Devas, Nagas and Mahitikas bless and protect all of you, your family members, even your grandchildren. In particular, Chu Kai E, who is celebrating his birthday, I don't know, his or her birthday today, and all the other individuals, Ku Choi Peng, Imo Yu Win Tin, Imo Ong Pu Chuan, and all the other people who gathered here. May you be always protected and blessed by the Devas, Nagas, and Mahitikas. Devas means the deities, Nagas means snake kings, Mahitikas means all the powerful non-humans. May your life and health be developed. May you be protected and blessed by them for good health, quality of life, prosperity, and safety. May Deva, Naga, Mahitika also finally attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ittavatacha ammehi sambatang punya sampadang. Sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sangpatti siddhya. Ittavatacha ammehi sambatang punya sampadang. Sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sangpatti siddhya. Ittavatacha ammehi sambatang punya sampadang. Sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sangpatti siddhya. Akasatta ca bummatta devanaga mahiddika. Punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu loka sasanang. Akasatta ca bummatta devanaga mahiddika. Punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu desanang. Akasatta ca bummatta devanaga mahiddika. Punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu mang paranti. Chirang rakkhantu tvang sadati. Also, let's make a wish. May we be in the company of the Kalyana Mittas, noble friends who can help us, who can help develop our practice into Nibbana, and not with the Papa Mittas who can deviate us from the practice. Thinking thus, we're going to recite the stanza. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamu satang samagamu hotu yava nibbana pantiya. Finally, may all the good karmas which we've been accumulating today be supportive and helpful for all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Abhivadana silissa niccang baddha pachayino chattaru dhamma vaddhanti ayuvannu sukhang balang ayurarugya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha ato nibbana sampatti iminati saminjatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And wish you a happy weekend, a good day. Take care and see you then next Sunday. Same talk.